If you've got $10 million in the bank, they're going to listen. $15 million in the bank, the brokers are going to find you a deal. And that's how we differentiated ourselves. It absolutely worked.
Welcome everyone to our Hero Capital Show. I'm your host Tim Mai, and today I have an amazing guest on the line with us, Mr. Ken G. He is the founder and managing member of KRI Partners, a real estate private equity and education firm. He has more than 26 years of real estate banking, private equity, and real estate investing experience. Throughout his career, he has been involved in transactions valued at more than $2 billion, which has included acquisitions, management, and financing of various multifamily real estate projects. Ken has been a CPA, a commercial lender, a real estate broker, lots of different hats, tons and tons of experience. And yeah, he's acquired over $200 million worth of real estate, raised over $60 million. Ken, thank you so much for being on our show today. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, share with us a little bit about your journey. I know you have quite a bit of a background in real estate, but especially what got you over here to the syndication space?
Yeah, really good question. So, what brought me to syndication? First 10 years, so there was a gentleman here from Akron. I'm in Cleveland as we speak, sitting in Northfield at our corporate office. First 10 years of my career I spent in Cleveland, and it was about 15, 16, 17 years ago, whatever it was now, I decided to go to Florida. Prices are a lot higher in Florida than they are in Cleveland. And so we tried our first syndication in Cleveland. We did one deal in the Shaker Square area. That was our first deal. We raised about $1.2 million. Why did we do it? We did it because I realized that I was out of capital. I had a
Mm,
partner at the time. He was a wealthy guy, but you run out of money. You just do. There's just no way you can keep going. And we couldn't buy these really cool properties that I wanted to buy in Florida because the prices were a lot higher. So we did it. We went at it once in Cleveland, and then we've actually evolved as raising money. We used to syndicate in Florida. And what happened to us was everybody knows that everybody wants to buy in Florida, right? When one deal, 30 offers, you're like, how do I set myself apart? Because everybody's syndicating. I would promise that I would close, but I had to set myself apart by raising price. So I would find the deal, lock it down, just like everybody does, and then go raise the money. It's a really tough process in a very short amount of
mm,
time. I said, man, I already understand the private equity world from my Deloitte days when I was a CPA. I'm like, wait a minute, we got to flip this around. We got to go raise the money and then use that money to go find the deals. We did that. I don't know. We started that probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And I wasn't wrong. It
mm,
absolutely worked. It's just as common sense. If you've got $10 million in the bank, they're going to listen. $15 million in the bank, the brokers are going to find you a deal. And that's how we differentiated ourselves. So we've evolved. Now all we do are funds and raise money in advance. We're on fund number 6 now. Actually, we're starting
oh,
fund
wow.
7. Sorry. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's talk about that because I've only raised deal by deal, and I've heard that it's just so much easier to raise money for deal by deal. Yes, it's a hustle, it's a grind,
Yeah.
but it's just easier. And a lot of investors are trained on investing in syndications and they're more reluctant on investing in funds. So speak into that for us from, yeah, like number one, is it true that raising deal by deal is easier and versus a traditional fund is harder? And yeah, let's start with that. We'll start with that, and
Yeah.
we'll go into the mindset of the LPs.
Yeah, yeah. So it is harder, right? If you don't have a track record, it's very hard. And so
Mm,
remember, we've been doing this now 27 years, more than 27 years. So we've got a track record. It's on our website. We paid a third party called Veravest. At the time, they would come in and audit us. And they audited our entire track record. Like it was very expensive, very time consuming. But now I had a track record vetted by somebody else that sat on their website. So I couldn't play with the numbers, right? I couldn't do anything. It was legit. So it was that track record that now what's important if you're going to flip from a syndication to a fund, I remember it very well. Everyone said, your investors will never follow you to the fund world. They just will not do it. They invest in syndications for a reason. And so I thought, all right, that's all I need is for somebody to tell me I can't do something because now that's all right, let's go. Because now I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. So what I did was I just made our terms look exactly like a syndication, no different. And I said, look, you can see the last 10, 15, whatever number deals that we've done. You can see we're going to do the same thing. And so what actually happens when you have a little bit of a track record, investors know they're betting on the jockey, not
Yep.
necessarily the horse. And even in a syndication, Tim, when you're raising money for a deal, they're still betting on you, man. They're looking at the deal, but they're betting on you. If they don't have the confidence that you can get it done, they're not investing. It's just not going to happen. So, flipping over to the fund model, they're still investing in me. They have to trust me. The only thing is, you got to just one more hurdle to get over, and that is they send us a minimum of 100 grand, and they don't get to say no on the deal. So now the trust level, it just has to be higher. And if you don't have that track record, it's really hard. But
Mm.
having said that, here's the opposite side of that same coin.
Okay.
Investors know that if you got money in the bank, you're going to get a better deal. You just will. The last two deals that we bought were brand new construction, just out of lease up in Central Florida at about a 5.9 cap. That's insane. That shouldn't be happening. Why? Because we had the money in the bank. They knew we could close, seller distressed. So, yeah, you're right. It is harder. But what I found is if they're not ready, we have a lot of people in our stage in our little pipeline called waiting for the deal. They're ready to go, but they just need to see it. That's okay. That's okay. You just don't get the same deal everybody else does. Like in our fund, if you invest with us prior to finding that first deal, we waive the first year asset management fee for you. That's a benefit. We're trying to do this together. I can't do it alone. They can't do it alone. So let's do it together and you get a benefit because I'll work for free for the first year. Because the reality of it is, I'm not here for the fees. I'm here for the promote on the back end, assuming I
Right.
do a good job.
That's interesting. And so what would you say is the level of track record before someone might want to consider, okay, that's good enough to start a fund?
Yeah, so there's no like defined answer there. We've done 20 deals. We've gone full cycle on 14 of them. So I know that works. Probably what, so every investor is going to be a little different. We have people that follow us for over 2 years. We met people at the money show coming right out of COVID. And they just stalk us. They come to all of our real deal investor webinars, our workshops. They just, every chance they get, they just want to hear. They're looking for the crack. Where's the crack? Ken seems like you know what I'm doing. Where is it? I'm looking for it. And eventually they're like, okay, maybe it's not here. I've heard enough of this guy. I see they develop that trust. It probably does take longer. That's the biggest deal. So your track record, it's the full cycle piece of the track record that I think matters. Because a lot of people can buy deals, right?
Mm,
But
yep.
if you're underwater in all of them, it really doesn't work. So what happened after 2021, everybody was jumping in. But now there's investors who have lost a little bit of money and
Yep.
they've been beat up a little bit. They're like, oh no, we're not doing this again. So now they're vetting sponsors the way they should. And that actually helps us because when you have 27 years of history, you're at a different level, right? So the more you can pack on, the better. And if you're in a group, Tim, I would say if it's you and a couple partners, leverage that most experienced partner, right? And lead with that's what I would tell you to do. Obviously, you're not going to mislead people, but here's what I'll tell you. When you get to the fund level, the quality of your deal changes, the certainty of close changes, your stress level, even though I lost a lot of hair, it slows down a lot, right? You can only do a deal so big when you got 45 days to raise the money, unless you have an insane pipeline, and most people don't.
What about this? Because I've seen operators, especially toward 2021, 22, transition from the syndication to the fund model and have since got their fund in trouble and now going back to the syndication model. And I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why their fund got in trouble is because their buy box was exactly the same. So when one property get affected, they all get affected because it's the exact same buy box. There's not much of a diversification to their fund portfolio. Can you speak into
Right.
that?
Yeah, let me tell you what I think happened to most people in 2021. Back then, I want you to just rewind the clock. What was happening back then? Rates were really low.
Hmm.
Everybody loved real estate. They just loved it. The belief was if your heart was beating, you should be able to make money in real estate because it had just been year after year. It just seemed like it was hard to screw up. And they're not political, but Jerome Powell said, I'm not raising rates. This inflation thing is transitional. I'm not raising rates. And then he raised rates 500 basis points in 12 months. See, what happens now is if you bought in 21, 22, or 2021, whatever period you define it, you probably use bridge debt. You were probably going to buy a property and make it nicer and then improve the rents. All a good business plan. You bought a 3-year rate cap. Hopefully, many people bought no rate caps. So now you were expecting rates to not move. You got a rate cap dirt cheap, but you still were exposed for 2 years. But you didn't care because you didn't think rates were moving. Now they
Right.
went in and cranked rates on you. And now you realize, uh-oh, I know because we sold a rate cap that we paid 40,000 for. We sold it for $400,000. 11 months later. Like that's the crazy thing that happened. So now we have people who weren't careful enough with their debt. I like 7-year debt because most
Mhm.
people say don't go that long, you're getting locked in the deal. I can find ways out of it. I can do supplementals, I can do stuff to get out of that loan. With the short-term stuff, I don't have a choice. I got to refinance it. Now, when rates go up, here's the real problem. A lot of people got FOMO. You know what FOMO is? It's
Yep.
the deadly disease. There is no cure for FOMO. Everybody laughs at me. You get it, you're toast. You are done. There's no cure. You're better off with pancreatic cancer than you are with FOMO. Okay. It's just not curable. So now you're jumping into these deals, but you don't do the homework. You don't know that upside's there. We bought some stuff in 2021, but we're okay. The reason we're okay is because we moved rents $300-400 a month. What solves all problems in the real estate world? A lot more income. And you've got 100 suites throwing off another $400 a month. You got a lot of new income to absorb a lot of interest expense. So what happened then is these people just didn't do the level of homework they needed to because rents were going up. They just didn't do the right homework. Their rents didn't move. So now they had no new income to cover this new debt. And now investors got capital calls, they lost their money, all that kind of stuff. So now fast forward, it's actually helping us because we've been around so long. There are fewer investors, but we're getting a lot more of them because of our experience level. So that's what happened in 2021. Investors got burned. It happens, right? It's called frothy markets. It's called whatever, right? I want investors to do their homework. Follow my 4 rules. Make sure you vet your sponsors carefully and just follow that discipline. And if you're sitting in my chair or your chair, if you're a buyer raising money, you have that discipline. I miss out on a lot of deals because of my discipline, but that's okay because I don't want to lose your money. All right. I'm okay to miss a deal. I'm not okay to lose your money and just stay invested, stay very disciplined. So we're looking for even leverage and 2 to 300 and upside. And it has to be there the day we buy or we don't buy because that new income solves every single problem that you could possibly have.
Makes sense. Yeah. So like understanding whether you're investing in a syndication or a fund, understanding the operator's business plan and strategy and how conservative that is plays a big role in choosing the right deal or the right fund to invest in or to raise money for.
It does. And I will tell you, investors can do their homework even easier now because of the internet, because of AI. When I can get
Right.
AI to go out and look at the 5 nearest properties and give me all the rents, and
I
it comes
know,
back in a
right?
few minutes. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys been playing around with AI to analyze deals, but yeah, these days, like the first thing I do when I'm looking at a property is going on ChatGPT or Perplexity or Menace, like one of those AI tools to go, oh,
Yeah.
do a deep search on this for me. And it finds everything, nearby properties, nearby comps, all the Google reviews, like it can get you tons of data and yeah, very, very
Goodbye,
quickly too. So it's
CoStar.
amazing. Pretty much.
That's okay
It
with
just
me. They're expensive.
it just doesn't have all the pretty graphs that co-stars have, but
It's all right. I could live without that. Yeah, we're using that. We actually created our own AI. We have our whole education side of our business, but we trained our AI that when you're in our programs, you get our AI. And there's only one person trained our AI. It's me. And you can literally have a conversation with her, vet out all the same thing that you're talking about. I heard you talk about
yeah,
using AI. There is so many ways that AI now is going to change our world. It's
it,
moving very fast. And the real estate world historically is slow to adopt new technology. You need to jump on this bandwagon because it will make you insanely efficient. It just will.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. So let's switch gear a little bit. Talk from a LP perspective.
Yeah,
You mentioned that LPs, whether they're investing in a syndication or funds, it has much more to do with the operator that they're investing in.
it does.
Yeah, I like to see the deals that I'm investing in. I'm just not comfortable in investing into a fund. how would you, I know you mentioned you set it up like a syndication and the terms and all of that, but especially for someone, maybe this is their first fund and they're
Yeah,
having to handle that objection, how would you handle that if this was your first
yeah.
fund?
Yeah, and we do it today because there are people who want to see the deals. And I think you should respect that. Especially investors, we talk to investors every day that have lost money. They should do their due diligence. And if they're not comfortable trusting me like that, it's a blind pool fund on purpose. They are blind. They don't get to say
Hmm.
yes or no. So if Tim, if you want in my fund, but you're not comfortable, you want to see the deal, Tim, I'll just put you on the list of waiting for deal. And as soon as we have that deal, you're just not going to get that free year of asset management fee, but that's okay. I want you to be comfortable. That's more important because it takes a lot of work and energy to get one investor. I want you to be back over and over. We're not transactional, we're relational. So totally fine. That's what I do today. I think you should do that and don't sweat it. What you have to do is manage the size of the deal that you can get because it's hard to raise $10 million in 45 days. Would you agree? I think
Yep.
it is. It's just
Hmm.
hard. My last deal required 15 million in equity and we had it in the bank. It was a no-brainer. It was the easiest deal I've ever done.
That's
And were there
awesome. I love
people
it.
on the side? Yes, of course there were. Of course there were. And we let them in. Why wouldn't you? Like that would be silly to not. So what
Yeah.
we're trying to do is put two deals in every fund. Because you talked about diversification, we get a little bit of that if I'm able to do that. And it just solves so many problems because now we always have money in the bank. Mr. Broker, we just closed on this deal, but we got 5 million left over from that. We already put another 5 million. So we got 10 million to spend. You see what I mean? I'm always raising and I'm always having money in the fund to spend because I mean that the name of the game is getting good deals, right? Our fees are so low. It's not about the fees. It's just this is a long-term wealth plan. You know that. And the more deals you can stack on top of each other, quality deals, the better off you're going to be.
Right. Yep. Let's talk about capital raising. I'd love to hear because I've seen some of your Facebook ads too. You also teach about capital raising as well.
We do. Yeah, yeah,
I,
we got one coming up. Yep.
yeah, I'd love to hear what are your top, maybe your top three favorite channels or favorite ways to raise capital.
Yeah. So, first of all, we do get a lot of feedback from Facebook. We do a lot of in-person networking with various clubs and groups and things like that. So, once a month, we have this alternating every other Wednesday. We call Wednesday KRI Day. So, we have an investor update, a real deal investor update. It's like coming up Wednesday after Labor Day. But what it is, it's a chance for me to show our investors and other investors, right? This is one to many, just no different than what we're
Hmm.
doing right here. Our goal, we get about 200 people on those. But what I do is I
Nice.
tell you what is our rents? What is our leasing activity? What's our insurance cost? What's going on in the market? Why is Winter Haven rent slow right now compared to Bradenton? Like all that. I tell you what, that's why I call it the real deal, because we are giving you real data from my portfolio and I don't make these
Mm,
numbers up. So that is huge because now these are investors in our deals, right? So I want you to think about this. If we're on the Zoom call and I got a couple hundred people there and 60, 70, 80 of them are existing investors, what a better way for new investors to get a feel for what it's like to be with us. Because when these Zoom calls, when they chat privately, you can't see it. You can't. So I encourage you, go talk privately to our investors. I'm cool with that. I want you to figure out what it's like. And then it gives them the opportunity to ask me any question they want. Now, if you're sitting in my chair and you're new to the game, that's really nerve wracking
yeah.
because you don't know what they're going to ask you. I remember my first live webinar. I was like, oh my God, what are they going to ask me? It was really, I had notes everywhere plastered all over my desk. And I obviously don't do that anymore, but that you have to put yourself out there. So that's the number one thing. We also have the other Wednesdays a workshop for where we teach people how to do it. But it's these webinars that are so important for raising money. You need to get in front of people. They need to see, just like I'm doing right now. You need to see me, feel me, talk to me, and ask me any question you want. And here's the key. When you're sitting in this chair, you better know the reason why, right? We manage our own properties. We've managed between our properties and others over 16,000 units. So when someone asks me an on the ground question about payroll or this expense or taxes, I know because I'm deep in it, right? So that there's no better way. I always tell people there's no better way to build trust than to get in front of people and know your stuff. Think Shark Tank. Just think about Shark Tank, right? If you go on that show and you don't know your numbers, Mr. Wonderful is going to destroy you. You agree?
That's
Now,
right.
the investors on these calls don't do that to you. They just turn off their camera and you never hear from them again. They're a little more polite than Mr. Wonderful.
So that's interesting. I know plenty of operators who do those kind of calls to the investors who invested in those deals, but you're opening up to your whole list to tune in on those calls?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? What better way for you to decide if I'm real? So here's the thing that people don't like. And I
Hmm.
want you to remind you that Warren Buffett, do we all agree that he's a really good investor? He's obviously very
Yep,
successful.
he's
Has he bat 1,000? No. He's made mistakes. But here's the difference. Here's why
yeah.
everybody trusts Warren Buffett, because he will tell you, I made a mistake. We shouldn't have bought that deal. This is why I screwed up. This is what I learned from that. Guess what? I do the same thing. There was a period earlier this year when our Winter Haven property was all of a sudden we had a spike in vacancy. I'm a freak about occupancy. Occupancy is number one always. So we made adjustments. So we figured out why did it happen? It happened because little bitty Winter Haven, Florida had 1,300 units dumped on it in a matter of 2 months. That's a lot to
Mm,
absorb in a 2 month period. So now what happens is you go on these webinars, and here's what people try to do. They don't want to talk about it. They just don't talk about Winter Haven that month. No, that is not what you should do. You should tell them this is what's
mm,
going on. Occupancy went down. This is why. This is how I'm fixing it. Here's what is going to happen over the coming months. So now they tune in next month. They're like, damn, he was right. He said this would happen. He said rents would go down a little bit. They did, because I'm going to stay full even when new guys are giving away 2 months of free rent. But then it's going to level out. My occupancy is going to go. You see what I mean? So you be real with people. They don't expect you to bat 1,000 100% of the time, but be open and honest with them, because they now were going to see, oh, wait a minute. So Ken had some adversity. He was not afraid to talk about it. He showed you how he identified it. He figured out what went wrong. He told you what he's doing to fix it. Like, how do you build trust better than that? But it's
mm,
hard.
that's
It's really hard to do that. That's why I believe the only way to really do this right is to get into the weeds and know what's going on the ground. Because then any question, it doesn't matter. You can ask me any question you want. And it's rare that I don't have some rationale as to why we do what we do.
I see. Very good. And how long are these, how many deals you typically cover on these calls, and how long do the calls run for?
They're supposed to be an hour, but they usually end up to be. We start at 7 p.m. and they usually go to 9:30. I mean, they
Oh,
just do
wow. Okay.
because I want to answer everybody's question. Like I'm on there to answer your questions. So if at some point we'll have too many people and I won't be able to get to them all without going to midnight, but as long as I can do that, I will. I mean, that's a good problem to have.
How has your investors' feedback been? How long you been doing this strategy, these calls?
Oh, years, a
How
long time. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. I'm pretty sure you get very good feedback from your investors about these calls, right?
Yeah, I think so. But you know what I like about it? Is
Mhm.
what make a lot of people uncomfortable. If somebody is concerned about something, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it because, see, I really appreciate Tim. If you have a concern about something, I want you to tell me so we can talk it through, because
Mhm.
that's the only chance I can have to help you understand what's going on and how I respond to it. If you don't ever bring it up, I never get to deal with it. I don't even know you're stressed about it. What I find most of the time, like Florida's insurance, right? Everybody's, what
Yep.
happens if there's a hurricane? You do know you have insurance for hurricanes. Oh, you do? See, a lot of people don't even know that. But if somebody
Ah,
doesn't raise their hand and say, "Hey, what do you do if see?" A lot of people are just too shy. They don't want to raise their hand because they don't want to feel stupid. They don't want to
interesting.
ask a
Yeah.
dopey question. I just, guys, out with any question you have. It's not dopey, because if you're thinking of it, 50 other people are too. And so I want those questions out there. I want you, because of course I'm trying to mitigate the obvious risk. Of course I care about hurricanes. It's why we don't buy on the beach. I can't protect against that. You're on the beach, you're toast.
Yeah, that's really good. All right. That's a really good strategy. Thank you for sharing that. What's your next favorite one?
Yeah, we do a lot online, a lot of networking. Our contact database is quite large. We use text messages. We do all the things that any marketing company should do. The challenge on the marketing side, especially for raising capital, marketing companies, for some reason, they have a very difficult time understanding your brand. And they start sending out stuff that sounds ridiculous. It's all these cheesy marketing sayings. And that's the battle we fight constantly. We just stopped using them because they just don't get it. You've now spent a few minutes with me. Could you imagine me coming out here with some really cheesy, let me pull back the curtain on the secrets of multifamily? Like, does that even sound like me? See, that's the stuff that they do, right? You got to pay attention to the marketing side of the world, right?
Mm,
You are what you are and stick to it, right? If you're boring, stay boring. If you're super exciting, then stay that. Whatever it is, that's your thing. And I believe personally, it's about trust and transparency and giving people the opportunity to ask questions. And what you find happens after a while, it just grows automatically because wealthy people like to brag about the deals that they're in to other wealthy people who say, yeah, who's that again? How do I reach that person? I'm telling you, literally, that's how it happens. And as you early on in your career, now I know you didn't ask me this, but this is really important. If you're in the capital raising deal and you want to do this for real, in the beginning, you've got to turn a couple deals and make money because then you develop that full cycle track record, right? If you just buy, oh, I'm going to hold for 20 years, nobody ever gets to see, did you really make any money? So in the beginning, go into, I call it money making mode and buy a
mm,
couple deals, add value, sell them. Your investors are going to be happy. You're going to have a track record. And now somebody has something to look at. Plus, you have taken a deal full cycle because when you've taken it full cycle, you've got to go through the process. I can tell you all day long what it's like, but until you actually go through it, you're like, okay, I get it. I see what happens here. And so that's what I would encourage you to do if you're early in your capital raising career. You got to turn a couple deals because now you got bragging rights. And that's really important in our business.
gotcha. That's good. Okay, so you have your real deal, I guess, webinars that you
Investor
do,
update. Yep.
investor updates that you do, and that's monthly or weekly?
No, it's
Monthly,
so
right?
we do every other Wednesday. One Wednesday
Every
is the
other.
investor update. The other one is we call our multifamily workshop. It's the education side of our business. We go into
Okay.
whatever is going on in our business. If you
Gotcha.
want to
Okay.
learn
So you have the investor updates, yeah, and then you have the social media and
oh
the
yeah,
all the marketing, the
YouTube.
multi-channel,
Yep.
email, SMS, all of that. What where do you what's your favorite source in terms of attracting new investors?
Yeah. So it's networking is
It
number
is
one.
networking. Okay.
Networking, but Facebook, don't ignore Facebook. It gets very expensive. Facebook ads.
Okay.
Yeah, you can try to grow it organically, but you said you've seen my ads on Facebook. You knew I have a capital raising workshop coming up, didn't you?
Yep.
See what happens? You just got to get out there. That's something I remember. I'm a CPA and lender by background. I don't know anything about marketing. I have to learn. You just have to. And I've got to stay in front of you over and over and over. Just because you saw one ad doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to run out and join Ken's workshop. No, you got to see it again and again. And that's just what you got to do. And you got to be prepared to spend some money doing that if
Right.
you really
Yeah.
want to do this seriously. But guys, it's worth it. Our team, I've raised personally 60 million. Our team has raised over 200 million. This really works. I want you to think about having that much equity. Think of what's the value of those deals that you have, and now it's all appreciating. Just think of how much money you're going to make. This is a stacking game. This capital raising thing, there's two things people got to do on day one. Number one, you got to learn the
Hmm.
numbers. You absolutely have to learn the numbers or you'll get destroyed. It'll stop your capital raising. You won't even get deals. Number two, you got to start capital raising on day one. And the reason you do, even though you don't know what you're doing yet, it takes a minute for people to follow you and to get
Yeah.
comfortable with you, right? They already know you're a cool person, a smart person, but they need time to digest that and come along that trust continuum. Does that make sense?
Yep. When you say know your numbers, are you referring to like learning underwriting or
Yeah,
just okay?
totally what I mean. Yeah, you should know how you staff a property and how much it should cost and why. Because what's the best way to show it Let me put it to you this way. If I'm going to ask you to give me 100 grand of your hard-earned money, isn't it a reasonable expectation that I'm going to take that money and put it into the business of multifamily that you expect me to know what I'm doing?
Yeah, of course.
It is only fair. And it's about the numbers. Because here's what happens if you don't know the numbers. The brokers will take advantage of you. They will. They'll talk you up. So what happens when you know the numbers? Nobody can BS you anymore. No, it's not worth that. I know it's not worth that. I know what the numbers are. And what happens is as soon as you learn the numbers, we have an underwriting course that hyper focuses on the details. Once you know the details, then you can start to go back to the napkin underwriting. Don't start with napkin underwriting is a very bad idea. But once you understand the details, now when that broker says, hey man, the other guys are a million higher than you, then you should take that deal. That's what I say to them. And they know that, and once they know, they'll stop trying to take advantage of you. There's nothing worse than being new in this business and they say, should I go up? They're asking 19 million, but it's only coming out at 15. What should I do? You should only pay what it's worth. This isn't even hard, right? But you don't know that yet until you underwrite, you learn how to underwrite, and all of a sudden that guessing game, it literally goes away. And now you let other people make the bad deals and you make the good ones because you know the ones that will work. That's why you got to know these numbers, man. If you don't, you'll get stuck. It will also be massively helpful in your underwrite, in your capital raising, because you're going to get questions and you're going to know all the answers. How cool is that? That builds trust so fast.
All right, Ken, with your workshop coming up, share with us one thing that you're sharing in your workshop that we haven't touched on yet in this interview.
People early on in their capital raising career think, hey, they're just going to get on and they're going to show them the broker's OM, offering memorandum, and they'll talk about the deal. That is not what you do. So I'll just tell you, our workshop's broken into 3 days. At first, you got to know how to, Tim, I just met you. I know you don't know me very well, but this is what I'm thinking about doing. And we teach you how to have those conversations in a way that doesn't make you feel dirty. And it doesn't make people hide under the table when they see you coming. Then the second day is about one-to-many. It's me doing a webinar. It's a pitch deck. The pitch deck has always got the same formula. So I'll give you a spoiler alert. Every pitch deck has to start with 3 things. Number 1, why do you like the property? What is it about that property that's just, man, this is cool? What is it that you love about the area? Okay, not just, yeah, the area is nice. No, what do you love about the area? And number 3, what do you love about the deal? Okay, property, area, deal. And you put that concisely in a pitch deck, the way we do it with lots of very important pictures, because pictures show you everything. Guess what? I have your attention now. And what people think, here's where people go wrong raising capital. They want to start going through the pro forma. Yep. But I'm talking to 150, 200 people on a webinar. You know what happens when you start? Have you ever thrown up on the screen a 5 or 10 year projection? Everybody just look at their faces. They're asleep. They have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. So you got to understand that a one-to-many webinar has one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to get you to raise your hand. I think I might be interested. Okay, cool. Let's take it offline. And that's our 3rd day. Let's have a one-on-one real investor meeting. The pitch deck will be very similar, but it will have a lot more data in it, stuff that we don't spend time. Tim, tell me what you're trying to do. Tell me what your objectives are. See, I'm not pitching the deal yet because I don't know anything about you. Like, I don't know, you trying to invest in this deal and get out in a year? That doesn't work. See, I got to figure out who you are because if I don't serve you, well, now I'm trying to cram something down your throat that I don't even know if it's right for you. That's just not how you should function. So that day 3, we show you, and we give you all of our scripts. Now, here's what makes what we do weird that people, I think, love. We're going to go into little breakout rooms on these Zoom calls, and we're going to one-on-one role play with you, with our people, and you're going to do the script. You're going to say it out loud. You're going to practice, and we're going to give you feedback. Now, here's why that matters. Do you want to practice with a potential investor, or would you rather practice in a private room with us, getting advice from somebody who's raised a couple $100 million? Like, see that process? Our team role plays every single day. Every day at 8:30 a.m., they spend 30 minutes role playing. They call it getting the peanut butter out. I think that's goofy, but that's what they do. They just get their, oh yeah, let's get back into it. Fact finding. They do all of that. See? Do you know what Tom Brady does all day when he was playing? Practices every single day. If you want to get rich, this will get you rich, but it's just going to take a minute. You're going to have to work at it. You want to be really good at it.
All right, that's good. Thank you for
That was
sharing.
that was a lot of little things. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's really good, and
It's
we're
fun. I
gonna.
love doing it in case you hadn't figured that out.
Yes, you do. And yeah, you've been doing this for so long. You're definitely a pro at it. So it's like it roll off your tongue like that, right? Yeah, it seems so
And it
natural for
would
you.
yours too
So
if we taught you. It would yours too. It would
yeah.
take a minute. You know what happens when you do all this? You get
Hmm.
on an investor call, you're no longer scared out of your mind. You're like, I know how to handle this. I have a process, I have a system, I know my stuff. And they're going to respect that because when you jump on a call with a prospective investment firm, what do you expect? Professional,
Yep.
trained, smart people. Do you want to give your money to somebody who isn't even bothered to prepare? No, no, you don't.
Right. Yep. And cancel in your real estate fund business, the major roles that you and your partners play. What role do you play in the partnership?
Yeah, I'm the GP now. I don't have a lot of other GPs with me. I'm not a huge fan of 10, 12, 15 person GP pools. I
Mm.
don't know at this point in my life if I'm going to partner with you, and we do this, we partner with people in our program. I want you to learn. I want you to actually go do your own PPM, do your own operating agreement, go talk to your own investors, go through the process. I provide the safety net under you because we can still close a deal. Think about that. What's the biggest risk going down this road is that you can't raise the money because now you're in trouble, right? So we give you that. So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And then within the GP role, do you yourself primarily handle the capital raising aspect, or do you handle the acquisition or the asset management? What role do you play?
Yeah, I used to do it all, but I've been doing this for 27 years. So we have a team. We have about 45
Okay,
employees. So
I
we
see.
manage all our own stuff. We got our own maintenance people, regional managers, property managers, leasing people. I have my own capital raising team. I have my own client success team. That when you come into our world, we don't know what you really want. Here's what you
Mm,
don't know. Most people do education and investing. They like to do them both because they want to learn about what they're investing in. That's very cool.
yeah,
Do I talk to investors still? Of course, absolutely. But I have somebody now in the front lines in front of me that is doing that. I'm still the acquisition guy, though. That I haven't been able
gotcha.
to delegate yet because that in my mind, I enjoy doing that anyway. It's fun.
Gotcha. Okay. With this market coming up here, what's your crystal ball telling you? Like, where's the market going? I know we're in a down cycle right now. How soon do you see us being out of this cycle into the next cycle? Yeah.
Yeah. So right now we are trying to buy everything in sight. Remember, 27 years.
Mm,
Remember that spans 08, 09. I've been through some difficult real estate times. And
yep.
you know, what you always want to run into the fire, not out of the fire, right? So when I
Mm,
say that, we're not in a fire right now, but we have a lot of distressed sellers. Rates went up a lot. And some of these
hmm
guys, they have to sell and they're selling at prices below what they paid for them in 21 because they didn't do a very good job. How is that not a great opportunity? If I can pick up, think about this cap rate thing that I talked about earlier. We bought the
hmm
Levi, we bought Allure, Central Florida deals, really good markets, brand new stuff at almost a six cap. That's insane. That shouldn't be happening. That should have been a five cap. So as
mm,
much as I could buy right now, I am. What do I think is going to happen? It is crystal clear that the administration wants lower interest rates. It doesn't matter whether you're right or left. That's not what this is about. I think it's pretty obvious that administration wants lower interest rates. That is going to help us, right? Remember, the administration is a real estate person, so they know what's going on in the real estate world. And we get rates down even if I will tell you that if you get rates down even another 50 basis points, everything changes. And the reason I say that is if I follow this stuff obviously quite clearly, I go over it at length on our webinars. But in September of 24, we saw the 7 year dip down to 3.5 and the broker BOV request. So if you don't know what those are, the first step in selling a deal is you go to the broker and say, give me a broker opinion of value. They tell you what they think it's worth, and then you hopefully agree. They had, as soon as that hit 3.5, remember the Fed started to drop rates, they went crazy. They had so many VOV requests. 2 weeks later, what happened? The rates, the treasury bills disconnected from the Fed funds rate. The treasuries went up. Literally, all those sellers said, nope, never mind, forget it. We were just kidding. It went
mm,
up 50 basis points. We're around fours, in the fours now, early fours, low fours. And so now we have marginal demand. So I know that if we get 50 basis points on interest rates, there's going to be a lot of very good quality assets on the market. And those people like us who stayed in, even during tough times, we're going to get those deals all day long.
Mm,
And it will take quite some time for the people that got beat up that weren't really ready for and they didn't handle their debt properly or whatever. It's going to take them a while to get back in the market. So for the first couple of years, there'll be guys like us who are just getting awesome deals.
I see. That's good. I
That's
like
what I
that.
believe.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. All right, let's talk about AI, and then we're gonna open up for Q&A here.
Okay.
Actually, let's do this. Let's do this. For those that want to reach out to you and connect with you, where would you like to send them?
Yeah, go to kripartners.com or you can call or text our team at 216-290-1710 if you're interested in that capital raising workshop. I don't know if you guys do that, but I'm not trying to steal your people. But if you're interested in that, just put capital in the text. They'll call you right back, I promise. Or you see a QR code over my shoulder, just hit that. Whatever works for you. KRIpartners.com. We'd like to keep it easy.
Okay, great. Yeah. And you guys have questions for Ken, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll call on you digitally. Raise your hand digitally. I'll call on you to unmute yourself in just a little bit here.
There you
And
go.
while you guys are doing that, Ken, share with us what are some of cool AI. I know you mentioned about a custom GPT that you use to analyze deals. What are some of the ways and AI tools that you're currently using in your business?
Yeah, so we're using it a lot on the marketing side. ChatGPT is really good at the marketing side, struggles a
Mm-hmm.
little bit with branding, so we have to beat it up a little bit. But I'm not a gadget freak. I'm using AI to become more efficient. That's what I'm doing. I just am trying to do that. But what we found to be really helpful, imagine if you were in our programs and you have a question. Now you don't, where's Ken? Well, Ken's sleeping. Okay. I can't be available to somebody 24 hours a day. Our programs, I'm with them like Tuesday, Thursday, 12 to 2, like a lot of group coaching time. So I'm there a lot, but there's a lot of time I'm not. So we developed this AI. Her name is Jamie. And when you're in our academy, Jamie is there to answer all your questions. She is only trained on me. She knows all of our courses, all of that. She's not going to go out to the internet and get garbage answers. She's going to know exactly what I know and is going to be like having me there answering your questions. And what we find, she's verbal. She's very conversational. She's very fun, very interesting to talk to. And we find that people just keep talking real estate with her. It's really quite funny. But that's a really good use of AI because now what are cap rates? Hey, people have trouble wrapping their head around cap rates. She'll just keep explaining it to you until you get it. I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Explain it another way. Okay. That kind of stuff. So we use AI for that. That has really been well accepted. People really do enjoy that because they don't have anybody to ask those questions to that they necessarily trust because people I've found are just not good at explaining some of these complex concepts. So other than that, we're starting to use it for a little bit of underwriting, rent surveys for sure. They're actually more reliable, although you got to watch. My wife made fun of me because I got into a fight with Chat GPT because Chat GPT, she's like, I can't, this is, you can't make this up. She said, Ken, I can't believe you're fighting with a computer. I said, but he lied to me. He literally lied to me. He told me he went
Yes.
out to the internet. He told me he got those rents. And then when I said, show me the spreadsheet, couldn't deliver it. I said, why not? And finally, I got it to admit that it never went to the internet at all. It was literally making the stuff up. I'm like, so you got to watch that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That is my funny Chat GPT story. So then I said, Chat, I call him Chat. I said, Chat, you got to tell me how to prompt you so you don't lie to me anymore. I said,
Mm.
because if it's called hallucination, that's what they call it. And their program, Chat is programmed to make you feel good. Great idea, Ken. No matter if you have the dumbest idea on the planet, that's a really good idea. It's so insightful to you. And then it goes on to spew a bunch of BS. That's my Chat GPT experience. So you just got to manage that. And that's what made me create Jamie. I'm like, whoa, we can't do this. People are going to be getting a lot of bad information. And I didn't want that. So Jamie, she's not allowed to go to the internet. She's shut in. So
Very
that's how we're
cool.
using it. And I'm sure we're going to find more. Now we can use it in marketing to automatically respond to your emails and stuff like that. I like to be careful. We have one of our client service reps. Her name is Annalise. And she said today we call people when they express interest. And she called this person and she introduced herself. And the person on the phone says to her friend, this is AI for sure. I can tell. And is really a live person, right? People are getting so trained to think that AI is the
Oh,
only
that's
person that
funny.
answers the phone anymore. So
That
I
is
just be
funny.
careful with that because we got to connect with people, right? We just have to because you're giving me a lot of money. You need to know that it's me and I'm really here.